Good evening. Welcome to Washington. I'm Bret Baier. It is a watershed moment in the 5-year Syrian civil war. After a relentless offensive augmented by the Russians, the government of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad is once again in control of the rebellion's most important stronghold. Hundreds of thousands of civilians have been killed since the beginning of the war in Syria. The U.S. ambassador to the United Nations says Russia, Iran, and Syria should be ashamed for carrying out war crimes on civilians with barrel bombs, mortars, and airstrikes. Tonight, tens of thousands of Syrians, many women and children, await evacuation from Aleppo and an uncertain future. Correspondent John Huddy has the latest from our Middle East newsroom.
The convoy of buses and ambulances carried the first wave of men, women, and children from eastern Aleppo today, leaving with some hope of life amid so much death. UN officials say the sick and wounded were evacuated first, followed by vulnerable citizens, and then rebel fighters and their families. They've been granted amnesty and safe passage to other parts of Syria. And then there are the children, like this group of orphans. A 10-year-old girl says this may be the last time her voice is heard, and she talks about how her mommy and daddy were killed in airstrikes 2 years ago in Aleppo. The evacuation of some 1,000 civilians today and more than 3,000 rebel fighters effectively ends the 4-year control of eastern Aleppo by opposition forces. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad congratulated Syrians on what he called the, quote, liberation of the city.
This history that is being made now is bigger than the word congratulations.
But the evacuation effort is far from over. An estimated 50,000 people remain in eastern Aleppo, according to the UN, and history has shown that all it takes is a spark to reignite the violence. Violence that Secretary of State John Kerry said includes the slaughter of innocent civilians.
And the Assad regime is actually carrying out nothing short of a massacre. And we have witnessed indiscriminate slaughter, not accidents of war, not collateral damage, but frankly purposeful, a cynical policy of terrorizing civilians.
And Secretary of State Kerry said that the U.S. will do everything possible to save lives in Syria, including restarting peace talks in Geneva, but added the question is if Syria's government and Bashar al-Assad is willing to accept peace. And while this may be the end of a major battle, the battle for Aleppo, it is not the end of Syria's civil war. Bret.
John Huddy live in our Middle East newsroom. John, thank you.